For decades, Cliff Richard was regarded as the shining symbol of British pop music, a charismatic star whose songs defined the spirit of the times. His charm was undeniable, and his smile seemed to light up every stage he graced. However, beneath the glamour of fame lay a life filled with personal sorrows, lost relationships, and public betrayals that almost broke him. What began as a fairy tale story of success slowly morphed into one of the most painful chapters in the history of British entertainment. Today, we reflect on Cliff Richard's journey, exploring the victories, the heartbreaks, and the moment that pushed him to the shadows. A humble beginning. From India to England. Cliff Richard's story began far from the world of music and fame. Born Harry Roger Webb in Lucknow, India, in 1940, his early years were marked by warmth and security under the Indian sun. However, as India gained independence in 1947, his family moved back to England, facing the harsh realities of post-war Britain. The contrast between his early life in India and the austerity of wartime England left a deep impact. Residing in Hertfordshire, he learned quickly that comfort was no longer a given. It was during these formative years that he discovered music, American rock and roll, and it became his escape from the struggles of life. Driven by a desire to stand out rather than fit in, Harry Webb reinvented himself as Cliff Richard, a name that would soon become synonymous with British pop music. The birth of Cliff Richard, a new icon. In the late 1950s, Cliff Richard, backed by his band The Drifters, later known as The Shadows, introduced a fresh sound to the UK rock and roll. His debut single, Move It, was unlike anything Britain had heard. It was raw, energetic, and rebellious, a stark contrast to the polite pop of the time. Cliff became the first true British rock and roll star, and the country was swept up in a frenzy of teenage hysteria. Fans fainted and screamed in adoration as Cliff performed on stage, and he quickly became a cultural icon. What began as a small revolution in British music turned into a worldwide movement. For the first time, Britain had its own rock idol, and Cliff Richard became the face of this exciting new era. Faith over fame, a bold choice. At the peak of his career, when rebellion and youthful excess were celebrated, Cliff Richard made a choice that stunned the world. In the 1960s, during a massive rally led by American evangelist Billy Graham, Cliff publicly declared his faith in Christianity. This bold decision shocked his fans and the music industry alike. Cliff had been the UK's answer to Elvis Presley, the quintessential rock and roll star, but now he was openly turning away from the very image that made him famous. Record executives feared his career would collapse, and many speculated that he would quit music entirely and become a school teacher. For a time, Cliff even wrestled with the idea of leaving the stage to focus solely on his faith. But in the end, he made a decision that no one expected. He stayed. The price of faith. Personal sacrifices. Cliff's decision to merge his faith with his career was a bold move, and it proved to be the salvation of both. However, it came at a significant personal cost. The sudden death of his father at the age of 21 left Cliff with the responsibility of taking care of his mother and sisters. Later, he would watch his mother slowly fade away due to Alzheimer's, a painful experience that deeply affected him. These burdens took a toll on his personal life, with relationships faltering under the weight of his commitments. Cliff had to choose career and family over his own happiness, and romances with dancers and actresses were often short-lived. Despite these struggles, Cliff remained steadfast in his resolve. His commitment to his faith and his music defined him, making him more than just a pop idol. He became a symbol of resilience and personal strength. A career revived the power of reinvention. By the mid-1970s, Cliff Richard's career seemed to be fading. The music scene had changed, and the young stars were taking over. Cliff, once the face of British rock and roll, appeared outdated. But in 1976, just as critics were ready to write him off, he released Devil Woman, a hard-edged song about curses and strange encounters. It was a stark departure from his wholesome image, and the public took notice. The song became a hit, climbing into the top 10 in both the UK and the US and selling over 2 million copies. Cliff had reinvented himself, shedding his teen idol persona and emerging as a more serious artist. This success was not just a comeback, it was a rebirth. Legends like Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, and Elton John showed their support for his new direction, and Cliff proved that he was still relevant in the ever-evolving music world. A Christmas Miracle, Mistletoe and Wine. Cliff Richard's comeback continued into the 1980s. In 1988, he recorded Mistletoe and Wine, a holiday song that became a massive success. Originally intended as a simple festive tune, it quickly became the best-selling single of the year. The song stayed at number 1 for several weeks, earning platinum status and becoming a staple of the Christmas season. The song's success marked the return of Cliff Richard as a chart-topping artist, and it was a reminder that he could still capture the public's imagination. The momentum from this hit carried into 1989 when he celebrated his 100th single with a performance at the London Palladium. His career had come full circle, and once again, he was filling arenas and winning over new generations of fans. The triumph of the Millennium Prayer. By the late 1990s, Cliff Richard had already cemented his place in music history. However, when he released the Millennium Prayer, a song that set the Lord's Prayer to the tune of Auld Lang Syne, the music industry reacted harshly. Radio stations, including the BBC, refused to play it, dismissing it as outdated. Despite this, Cliff's loyal fans rallied behind him. The song became a movement, climbing to number 1 in the UK and staying there for 3 weeks. It was Cliff's 14th number 1 single, a milestone that came 40 years after his first. The success of the Millennium Prayer was not just about the song itself, it was a testament to the enduring power of Cliff's relationship with his fans and a clear message to the music industry that the public, not the critics, decide who matters. The Raid. A public betrayal. In 2014, Cliff Richard's life took a dark turn when police raided his home in Portugal, broadcasting the event live on television. The allegations were shocking. A man had accused Cliff of assaulting him during a Billy Graham rally in the mid-1980s. The police investigation ultimately failed to produce any evidence, but the damage had already been done. For nearly 2 years, Cliff's reputation was dragged through the mud. The media circus surrounding the investigation, particularly the BBC's coverage, only intensified his suffering. Though he was eventually cleared of all charges, the stain on his reputation lingered. In 2018, Cliff won a legal victory when the High Court ruled that his privacy had been violated. But the scars from the ordeal remained, and it would be a long time before he could fully escape the damage done. A life defined by resilience. Cliff Richard's life has been a roller coaster of highs and lows. He has experienced the joy of massive success, the pain of lost love, and the anguish of public betrayal. Yet, through it all, he has endured with a resilience that few can match. Despite the trials, he has continued to make music, tour, and connect with his fans. His career, spanning over 6 decades, has been defined not just by his chart success, but by his ability to bounce back from personal and public hardships. Cliff Richard's legacy is one of perseverance, a testament to the power of faith, love, and the enduring bond between an artist and their audience.